In this video, I'm going to show you how we get started on a blank page by adding this thing called the section, the row, and the column. All right. So whenever you build anything on Digisales platform, the page builder, I would say you got to start with these fundamental building blocks. So a lot of people get carried away. Okay, I want to add my headline, I want to add my images, I want to add my videos here. But before that, you need to have a container of some kind, all right? So the section is the biggest chunk, followed by the row, followed by the column. So how do we do it? All right. So once we are in the page builder mode, you're going to see there's this thing called add, all right? Or you can go to the top left, the top left, and click on this thing called elements, okay? And you're going to see that there's quite a number of things that you can actually add, okay? You can see it's organized into sections, rows, and elements, okay? We're going to start with the section, the most important one, and you're going to see that there's full width, wide, medium, and small. So normally, I will just go with full, all right? Because if you go with wide, I'll just show you what happens. If you go with wide, okay, the container is quite small. I mean, like smaller, okay. And yes, to the naked eye, it looks like it's all white, right? But imagine this, if you click on this, and let's say you want it to be black color, then you have all these white spacings at the left and the right hand side. So it's not really nice. We don't want that. Okay, so if you don't want this or anything, right, you just click on this thing called delete. All right. So this is why it is better for a section to be a full width for the most part. Okay. So here we are. We've added a section. Okay. And then once we have a section, we can start adding some contents inside. But hey, let's not get too carried away. Before we start adding further things, right, we normally want to make some basic configuration. Yeah. So how do we configure anything that we are using here? You click on anything, including the section, and you're going to see on the right hand side, there are configurations for you to do. It's like the name element. Now, by default, they'll just put some random name over here called section. I will recommend from now on, you give a proper name to any section or row if possible. All right. So there's no right or wrong over here, but I will say that it's good for your own identification. So in this case, maybe I'll just call it section main for now. All right. So you change the name here. Stickiness, okay, not really needed. Stickiness means the thing will follow you. We don't really use that. Okay. And then there's quite a number of features over here. I'll just go through the important ones, all right? So background, okay, I will say this is very important because every now and then you're going to change the background color. So in this case, you can click on this. Right now it's colorless. You can change it to black, red, or any color that you see here. Now, it doesn't have to be any from this default colors. You can add your own custom color, right? So for today's example, right, we are going to attempt to rebuild a page from somewhere else, all right, which is this one over here. So we'll try to recreate something like this. So you can see the background here. This is a pigeon gray color. So we can try something like this. Okay, close enough. Now, if you don't like this shade, yeah, you can click on add and you can choose another shape. But right now, I don't want to do that. All right. So let's just say this looks good enough. Let's go with it. And there are a bit of like funky features. You can make it gradient. You can make it blur the background. But you know what? We just want to build something simple. I seldom touch those things. Okay. Now the width, again, you might notice this. We can make it wide, mid-wide, or small, which again, we don't really want to do that. We'll just go with full. Okay. Then you click on the styles tab. Okay, this is very important. A lot of people are not aware of this. So what happens is when people are very undecided, right, they will put a lot of weird margin and padding, like sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes a lot of space, sometimes no space one. So what happens is, right, your page, to put it in a nice way, it starts to look like a bit quite asinine, like not really, yeah, visually the people will not be able to see the difference, okay, but they are like, why this one higher, this one lower. Okay, so what we want to do is that we need to be consistent in the way we look. So I'll tell you something. Personally, for margin, right, I like to make the padding 40 and 40. Okay, so it is a bit respectable. There's a bit of width. I like to put 40 and 40. All right, you can experiment or do whichever way you like, but for me, I think 40 is good. Okay, now if you want to put border up and down, you can also do it, but this one I seldom use it. So you can, but if you want, you can put solid and then you can change the color. Okay, and then you can put the border size. So normally for border, I don't want it to be equal. I like to just maybe put up and down on it. So for example, I put 4 pixel. Okay, how many can see that there is a black line down here right now? So that's how it works, all right? But since we don't want any border, I'm just gonna clear it out, right? No border, no color, okay? Now, if you want to add shadow, you can, but I rarely do that. Visibility, that means does it appear on both desktop and mobile? So this one, normally, I will not touch it for the most part, okay? So that's how you do the section, okay? Next, once we have the section, the next container is the row, right? We're going to click on add. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the row. So normally you got the row comes with 1 or 2 or any of these columns here. So most of the time we use a 1 column, sometimes 2 columns. Okay, so let's keep it simple. Let's go for 1 column. You click on this and then you drag it in. Okay, now I'm not sure how this will work on your mobile phone because they also have just a fun fact, they also have an app in the phone that you can actually edit, So, but I've not done it before. I've not installed such an app. So just letting you know that such a thing does exist. Okay, Digisales app page builder, all right, that can be done on your phone. But if you ask me, I prefer to do it on a computer. Okay, so now, it looks like we're taking a bit of shape, right? This is where we start adding the contents inside here, okay? But hey, hold your horses, don't do that yet. Let's make sure we get this part down correctly because what we do right now is mostly a repeat, okay? We're most probably going to duplicate and clone and repeat the same thing again and again throughout the entire page. So it's better and imperative that we get this thing down correctly, okay? So if you're looking at this blue outline here, this is the row, okay? And then if you scroll inside the light purple one, this is the column inside, all right? So here, again, if you select this, right, you can see the configurations on the right. They call it first column. Okay, never mind. Wait, sorry. Make sure you choose using a 1 column row. Yeah? Select the right thing, the blue color. This is the column, right? Align center, most of the time, I will not touch it. It should be fine. This is the interesting part, the width. Okay, because sometimes you don't want your thing to appear from one end of the screen to the other end, all right? So you can afford to change this part. You can make it a little bit more slim. I like to put anywhere from 70 to 80% for sales letter. So it's not reading from one end to the other. Later, you're going to see the differences, okay? So right now, I'm just going to leave it at 100 first. If I want to change, I'll do it later, okay? Again, you can also change any color if you want to, all right? For example, I can make this whole thing white. So this is how you can make a contrast, okay? But otherwise, we will just make it transparent, all right? You can go to styles, and again, we're going to adjust the margin padding. So between you and me, I normally like the left and right to be 0, all right? To make use of the space, unless you have a reason to make the margins, okay? Especially if you may have color, but never mind, we're just going to put 0 and 0. Up and down, I'll leave it at maybe 10. I think this is a good number, okay? If you want to add border, you can. This is the same thing, but right now I don't want to add anything. Okay, I'm just gonna put it as nothing at all. All right, and the rest we can leave it alone. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do a very similar thing to the column. All right. You might notice it's a pattern, right? It's the same thing. Yeah. We're going to leave it alone. Content alignment, right? We're going to leave it be. Content spacing. By default, I'm just going to put left. All right. This will be important afterwards as you start adding like maybe 1 column, 2 column. You want to make sure that they are sort of like aligned properly. Okay. So I just put left. Go to styles. And again, I'm just going to change the padding here. Okay. And I'm going to leave up and down 10, 10. No border. I think this is fine. And I don't want any color over here, all right? So yeah, this is how you add the section, the row, and the column. And after this, it's going to be a repetition. The reason why I spent a bit of time to configure this correctly is because when you build a page, right, you want it to look all consistent. So after this, right, if I want to build this part again, rather than I go through what you saw just now, what I can do is that I can select this and click on this thing called clone. And ta-da! We already have another clone over here. Now, if we can change the color, maybe this one we can change to white color. And this part here, I don't have to like edit all over again. I can pretty much use it without like, dragging this one by one, all right? And let's not forget, guys, as we are making our page, right? I would like to remind you to regularly save your work. So at the top right, you're going to see this thing called save. which is this icon. And what's the difference between save and publish? All right, publish means, right, if I click publish right now, this whole page will be live. That means people who are outsiders and they somehow are able to see this page, they will be able to view the current status. All right. But if you ask me for productivity purpose, right, I don't really waste my time going to the save icon. I just click on publish right away. I don't really like to waste time. All right. So yeah, this is how we build the section, the row, and the column.